Real Madrid just spent over 300 million euros this summer. Marc Cucurella, Bernardo Silva, Ibrahima Konaté, Denzel Dumfries, Carlos Espí, a 100 million euro teenager in Yan Diomande. Real Madrid rebuilt almost an entire team this window. And somehow, they are on the verge of losing the one player their squad has needed for 3 straight years, to Barcelona. His name is Rodri, reigning Ballon d'Or winner, Spain's World Cup winning captain, named player of the tournament at the 2026 World Cup, and multiple reports this week from ESPN, from Marca, from Fabrizio Romano say he has already agreed personal terms with Barcelona and that Barca are now negotiating with Manchester City while Real Madrid's talks have stalled. Let that sink in. The best defensive midfielder on the planet, a Spaniard, a player who has spent his entire career being linked with the Bernabeu, and Real Madrid may have just let him walk into the arms of their biggest rival. So here's the question this video is going to answer. How does a club with this much money, this much ambition, and this much insight into world football miss the single most important signing available to them? Was it a financial miscalculation? A blind spot in recruitment? Or something even more uncomfortable, a club so obsessed with attacking stars that it forgot the one position that actually wins you the biggest trophies? Stick around, because by the end of this video, you're going to understand exactly what Real Madrid are about to lose, and exactly why Hansi Flick is about to turn Barcelona into the most dangerous version of themselves in years. Let's establish exactly where this stands, because the details matter here. According to ESPN, Rodri's camp believes Real Madrid simply didn't show the commitment needed to get a deal over the line, despite being in talks with his representatives for weeks. Barcelona, sensing the opening and dealing with a serious injury to Frenkie de Jong, moved decisively. Rodri has reportedly agreed to a 4-year contract worth more than 10 million euros net per season. The final piece, a fee agreement with Manchester City, is reportedly the only thing standing between Rodri and a Camp Nou unveiling. Real Madrid haven't been eliminated from this race entirely, but every report this week points in the same direction. The momentum, the players' preference, and the initiative all currently belong to Barcelona. So here's the tension I want you holding on to for the rest of this video. Real Madrid spent a fortune on attacking talent this summer, and may still end up watching their fiercest rival solve the one problem that's haunted this Real Madrid side for years. How did that happen? Let's start with what Real Madrid actually built this summer, and what's still missing from it. Look at the names Real Madrid have added this summer, and you'll see a club that spent aggressively and mostly intelligently. Marc Cucurella strengthens the left side. Bernardo Silva adds midfield craft and experience. Ibrahima Konaté reinforces central defense. Denzel Dumfries brings pace and end product from fullback. And of course, Yan Diomande, the 19-year-old winger who beat out PSG and Liverpool in a deal worth well over 100 million euros, arriving to slot into Jose Mourinho's reported 4-2-3-1 alongside Kylian Mbappe, Jude Bellingham, and Vinicius Jr. On paper, that's a devastating attacking unit. Mbappe leading the line, Bellingham arriving late from midfield, Vinicius isolating fullbacks, Diomande stretching the width. This is a Real Madrid side that going forward might be as dangerous as anything in world football. But here's the uncomfortable question none of those signings actually answer. Who protects that team when the ball is lost? Real Madrid's midfield, for all its attacking talent, has lacked one specific profile for years now. The deep-lying midfielder, whose entire job is to make everyone in front of him braver. Not a box-to-box runner, not a creative playmaker, a structural presence, a player who reads transitions before they happen, who breaks up counters before they start, who lets Bellingham gamble on a forward run because he trusts someone is covering the space he's just vacated. That is precisely what Rodri does better than any player on the planet. And here's the part that should really worry Real Madrid fans. This isn't a new problem. This is the same structural gap that's shown up against elite opposition for multiple seasons now. Moments where Madrid's front four are electric in transition, but the space in behind them, the space a genuine defensive midfield anchor is supposed to protect, becomes a highway for the opponent. You can spend 300 million euros on attacking reinforcements and still not fix that. Because the fix was never going to come from the final third. It was always going to come from the base of midfield. So while Real Madrid built one of the most exciting attacks in Europe this summer, they may have simultaneously watched the single player capable of protecting that attack walk straight across the city and into Catalonia. So how does this actually happen? How does a club with Real Madrid's resources lose a race for a player this obviously suited to their needs? Let's go through the theories, because there are a few, and none of them make particularly comfortable viewing if you support Real Madrid. Theory 1. They simply prioritized elsewhere. Real Madrid's summer business tells its own story. Cucurella, Bernardo Silva, Konaté, Dumfries, SB, and a 9-figure fee for Diomande. That's an enormous amount of capital, committed before Rodri's situation even became urgent. It's entirely possible Real Madrid's board looked at their spending and simply didn't leave themselves the financial or structural room to go all in on a defensive midfielder once Barcelona made their move. Theory 2. A recruitment blind spot. For years, Real Madrid's transfer strategy under Florentino Perez has leaned heavily toward marquee, attack-minded, Ballon d'Or caliber signings. Mbappe, Bellingham, Vinicius. Every one of those deals was, individually, defensible. But stack them together, year after year, and you get a squad that's spectacular going forward, and structurally fragile, in exactly the area Rodri would fix. It's not that Real Madrid didn't value defensive midfielders, it's that, at the boardroom level, the club has consistently chosen the more glamorous signing when forced to choose. Theory 3, and the most damning one, hesitation at the exact moment it mattered. According to ESPN's reporting, Real Madrid had been talking to Rodri's camp for weeks, but after several days without progress, Barcelona swooped and took the lead in the race. In modern football, especially for a generational talent entering the final year of his contract, hesitation is fatal. Barcelona didn't outspend Real Madrid here. They simply moved with more urgency and more clarity about what they wanted. Whichever theory you believe, and it's probably some combination of all three, the result is the same. Real Madrid spent the summer building an attack capable of terrifying any defense in Europe, and may have simultaneously let the player who protects attacks like that slip through their fingers. Here's the hook heading into the next section, because this is where it gets genuinely painful for Real Madrid fans. It's not just that Barcelona might get Rodri instead of Madrid. It's what Barcelona are specifically going to use him for, and why he fits their next evolution even better than he would have fit Real Madrid's current one. This is where the story stops being about a missed signing and starts being about a genuine tactical upgrade for Real Madrid's biggest rival. Hansi Flick's Barcelona has built its identity on aggressive possession, relentless circulation, a high defensive line, fullbacks pushing forward into the width, and a swarm of technical midfielders dictating tempo through intricate passing sequences. It's thrilling to watch. It's also, structurally, high risk. When you commit that many bodies forward, when your fullbacks are functioning as auxiliary wingers, you are permanently exposed to the counterattack unless something, or someone, is shielding the back line. Rodri is exactly that someone. Adding Rodri doesn't just reinforce Barcelona's midfield numerically, it fundamentally changes what Flick can risk. With Rodri sitting at the base, screening the back four, and reading transitions half a second before they develop, Barcelona's fullbacks can push even higher. Their wide forwards can commit even more aggressively to the press. The entire team can play with more verticality, more directness, more risk in behind the opposition's defense, because for the first time in years, there's a genuine insurance policy sitting in front of the back line if it goes wrong. That's the Flick factor. It's not just adding a good player to a good team. It's adding the single missing structural piece that lets an already elite manager turn the dial from possession-obsessed control to vertical, aggressive, high-risk powerhouse, without sacrificing defensive stability to do it. And here's the uncomfortable truth for every other club in La Liga, Real Madrid very much included. A Barcelona side that presses even higher, attacks even more directly, and does it all while remaining defensively secure, is significantly harder to beat than the Barcelona side that's competed for trophies the last few seasons. Rodri isn't a luxury addition to that project. He's the specific ingredient that was missing to make it work at full intensity. Let's break down exactly why Rodri is this valuable, because it's not just reputation, it's a very specific skill set that almost no other midfielder in world football possesses at the same level. Think of Rodri as a security system. Not a passer who occasionally tackles, a structural foundation that allows every single player in front of him to take risks they wouldn't otherwise take. A centre-back can step out of the back line to intercept because Rodri covers behind. A fullback can bomb 60 or 70 meters forward because Rodri recognizes the counter-attack before it even fully forms and gets his team back into shape. That's the value that doesn't show up cleanly on a stat sheet, but shows up in every single result over a season. And it's not just about slow, patient, controlled build-up football either. This is the part people get wrong about Rodri. Watch him with the Spanish national team, a side that, especially in transition-heavy, chaotic knockout football, has repeatedly needed him to control games that were anything but calm and structured. He was named Player of the Tournament as Spain won the 2026 World Cup, in a competition packed with exactly the kind of vertical, high-intensity, transition-heavy matches that separate the very good defensive midfielders from the truly elite ones. Rodri doesn't just dominate slow possession football, he dominates chaos. That's precisely the bridge between Pep Guardiola's control-obsessed City system that developed him and Hansi Flick's more direct, aggressive vision for this next version of Barcelona. Then there's the development angle, and this is where Barcelona's timing looks almost suspiciously perfect. Marc Bernal, Barcelona's 18-year-old academy midfielder, has spent the better part of 2 years fighting back from a serious ACL injury, only to return to fitness and immediately deal with a further setback. He is exactly the kind of generational talent Barcelona doesn't want to rush or expose to unmanageable pressure. Bring in a player like Rodri, and suddenly Bernal doesn't have to be the finished article at 18 or 19. He can learn, rotate, develop behind a proven, elite, 29-year-old shield, rather than being thrown into the deep end because the first team simply has no other option. That's not just squad depth. That's a sustainability plan for the next decade of Barcelona's midfield. And finally, the resume. This is a player who has already delivered on the very biggest stage football has to offer. Rodri scored the winning goal in the 2023 Champions League final, as Manchester City completed the treble. He won the 2024 Ballon d'Or. He captained Spain to World Cup glory in the summer of 2026 and was named the tournament's best player. There is no bigger game pedigree available in world football right now at his position. This isn't a gamble. This is about as close to a guaranteed masterstroke as a transfer can be. So let's bring this back to where we started. Real Madrid spent well over 300 million euros this summer building one of the most exciting attacking units in world football. And they may still end up watching the single most important defensive midfielder of his generation walk straight into Barcelona's dressing room instead, reuniting with 8 of his Spain World Cup winning teammates and handing Hansi Flick the exact missing piece needed to turn an already dangerous Barcelona side into something even more difficult to stop. If this deal completes the way every current report suggests it will, this won't just be remembered as a transfer Real Madrid lost. It'll be remembered as the moment Real Madrid's recruitment strategy, spectacular in attack, negligent in midfield, finally caught up with them, at the worst possible time, against the worst possible rival. So here's what I want to leave you with. If Rodri does complete this move to Barcelona, and Hansi Flick turns this team into the vertical, aggressive, defensively secure machine we've just described, what happens the very first time Real Madrid's front four run into a Barcelona midfield, with Rodri sitting behind it, reading every single transition before it happens? And bigger than that, if Real Madrid can spend over 300 million euros in a single summer and still miss the one signing their squad actually needed most, what does that tell us about how this club is actually being run behind the scenes? Drop your answer in the comments. Did Real Madrid just make the biggest tactical mistake of the Mbappé era, and are they about to pay for it at the Bernabeu? If this breakdown gave you something to think about, subscribe, hit the bell, and I'll see you in the next one.